If you've stumbled upon this video, I'm guessing you're looking to leave New York City and you're considering Raleigh, North Carolina, but you just don't know what to expect. Well, you've come to the right place. As a 15-year New Yorker who moved to Raleigh in 2021, I love talking to other people about what it's like to swap out the Big Apple for the city of Oaks. My name is Matt Martin, and I'm a local realtor here in the Raleigh area. I've helped tons of clients relocate to the Triangle region. And if you're looking to do the same, I'd love to help you too. So Raleigh's no longer America's best kept secret, and around 80 people a day are flocking here from all over the country and the world. And one of the biggest groups of people moving here is actually coming from New York, which accounted for nearly 10% of the entire population growth of North Carolina in 2021. That all prompts the question, why? And what's it like to move from New York City to Raleigh, North Carolina? Well, let's start with a biggie, the weather. Honestly, this is one of the biggest reasons I left New York City. After 15 years there, I needed a shorter winter, but I still didn't want to ditch my winter coats completely. Raleigh still has 4 seasons, but the two most extreme ones, summer and winter, are much shorter. Yes, Raleigh drops into the 20s and 30s during the winter, and it occasionally even snows. In fact, our first year here, we got a 6-inch snowstorm and the entire city shut down. Really, almost everything shuts down at any sign of snow, and unlike New York City, you're on your own for shoveling here. But it usually melts the next day, and we only get about 4 to 5 inches of snow a year. And much like New York City, Raleigh has a hot and humid summer. But the worst of it only lasts for about 2 to 3 months, with July and August being the peak. And just think, here you can go from your air-conditioned house, your air-conditioned car, to your air-conditioned destination with no hot and sticky subway stations in between. So if you're moving from New York and you still want 4 seasons, just truncated versions of them, Raleigh's got you covered. Another big, what about the food and culture? This was a major concern for us when leaving New York City, but it's another reason we picked Raleigh. It has a booming food scene and a ton of museums, galleries, and live event spaces. I'll make a whole separate video of my favorite places to eat in Raleigh, and that might be a long one since there's so many, but suffice it to say that even this New York City foodie has been blown away by all the great food all across the Triangle. Yes, I still haven't found a true New York bagel, and your bodega bacon, egg, and cheese might have to be reserved for special visits back to the city, but I have found pizza that rivals the Big Apple. Stay tuned for that video to find out where I'm talking about. We've also discovered a huge local beer and cider scene across the over 40 breweries here, many that welcome your human and Furby. And given that great weather I already talked about, you can enjoy the outdoor spaces at these breweries pretty much year-round. Culturally, there are so many things to do. Raleigh hosts First Friday on the first Friday of every month, where multiple galleries downtown open their doors so you can meet the artists, see their work, and sip and stroll with some adult beverages. And that reminds me, both Raleigh and Durham now have sip and stroll districts that allow for open containers on the streets. You won't find that in New York City. If you're in the mood for a Broadway show, check out the Durham Performing Arts Center, DPAC, which consistently ranks amongst the best theaters in the country and hosts all the major touring shows. Or if music is more your thing, there are tons of live music venues from Red Hat and Coastal Credit Union amphitheaters to PNC Arena. And every spring, Dorothea Dix Park is home to J. Cole's 2-day Dreamville Festival, which last year featured Drake and Usher as its headliners. So if you're relocating from New York City to Raleigh, I promise you'll still find great food and a ton of cultural offerings. The next thing people love about moving here is the access to the outdoors. While New York City is a concrete jungle, it does provide access to great parks, hiking trails just upstate, water all around, and multiple beaches. But you have all that here too. It's funny, every local we talked to before we moved here had the same thing to say about why they love Raleigh. They all said, we're just 2 hours from the beach and 3 hours from the mountains. I swear, it's like you get a script when you're new to Raleigh and everyone says it. But unlike in New York City, where a trip to the beach requires a subway to a ferry to a train to a bus or any combination of those, all while carrying your beach towel and umbrella and your chair and your cooler, here you can simply hop into your car and off you go. Sure, some of y'all may have a car in New York City already, but you won't be paying $700 a month for parking in Raleigh either. And the traffic is much better. If you're more of a lake person, we've got a ton of those too, including Jordan Lake and Falls Lake that are within a 20-minute drive of downtown Raleigh, or Lake Gaston, which is about an hour north on the Virginia border. And if mountains are more your thing, we're just 3 hours away from the insanely beautiful Appalachian Mountains and my favorite towns of Boone and Blowing. I'll admit, I was super hesitant on our first trip to the mountains, unconvinced that these gorgeous North Carolina mountains we'd heard so much about were going to be anything more than some rolling hills. But I was totally wrong. They are real and they're breathtaking. Raleigh's also home to a 180-plus mile network of greenway trails for biking, hiking, or just strolling. And Dorothea Dix Park is a beautiful 300-acre park right next to downtown that has walking paths, a dog park, and the big field. Think the Great Lawn, but with about 1/100th the number of people. We're in Dix Park multiple times a week, and our Labradoodle Boomer, who you saw back behind me, it's definitely one of his favorite places in all of Raleigh. And while we're on the subject of outdoors, no video about moving to the Triangle would be complete without talking about the trees, the trees, the trees. One of the first things we noticed when we visited the Triangle was the incredible greenery. And it's something that every single person who visits comments on. It's such a beautifully lush city and really unlike anything I've seen in the rest of the country. Raleigh's called the City of Oaks for a reason, and it definitely lives up to its name. Come spring and summer, when the crepe myrtles blow up in reds and purples and whites, and the hydrangeas start blooming all across the city, there really isn't a prettier place to be. If you're looking to leave New York City, I'm guessing a big reason has to do with the cost of living. And Raleigh is definitely a much cheaper city to live in, with everything from groceries to housing to food prices being much lower than in New York. The median single-family home in Raleigh as of July 2023 was about $450,000 and just over 2,200 square feet, which blows every New Yorker's mind. Of course, prices will vary depending on how close you are to downtown, but even luxury two-bedroom rentals with a washer and dryer in the unit in the most desirable areas only hover around $2,500 a month. One thing that surprised me when moving here was that eating out and drinks are still pretty expensive in Raleigh, but you can expect prices to be about 20 to 30% less than in Manhattan. And with full-size grocery stores here where you don't run the risk of getting run over by a motorized scooter, talking about you, Fairway Upper West Side, you'll find yourself cooking more at home and ordering less from Seamless, so even more savings. And speaking of savings, I have to mention taxes. The first year I did my taxes in North Carolina, I asked my accountant to tell me what I would have owed if I'd still lived in New York City, and it was almost double. So I know that's an exhaustive list, but if you're still curious about what it's like to move from New York City to Raleigh, I've got some more. The people here are incredibly friendly, so don't be surprised when they make eye contact, say hello, or want to stop and chat. They're not looking for anything from you. They're just friendly. Y'all is a real thing, and everyone says it. Try as you might to avoid it, I promise you'll be saying it in no time too. I think I even said it in another part of this video. Also, people don't honk here unless it's a true emergency. So if the incessant horns in the city have you about ready to pull your hair out, you'll love the peace and quiet here. This one is random, but North Carolina doesn't allow happy hours, but they do allow all-day drink specials. Also, the liquor stores here are all state-run and closed on Sundays, but you can buy beer and wine in the grocery store. This area is also home to a ton of colleges and universities, from NC State to UNC Chapel Hill to Duke, and 4 local cities just ranked in the top 10 most educated cities in America: Durham, Chapel Hill, Cary, and Raleigh. So there's no shortage of top-tier talent coming out of the Triangle, and education is super important to those in this area. And finally, sports, but let's be honest, I don't really know anything about sports, so I'm probably not the best person to talk on this topic. We do have one professional NHL team, the Carolina Hurricanes, but otherwise college sports reign supreme, so be prepared to pick your team once you get here. Of course, nothing will ever be the same as New York City, but if you're watching this video, it's likely because you're looking for a change of pace and scenery. Sure, you won't be able to find food at 2 a.m. here, or spot celebrities on the subway, or get the best lox at Zay bars, but you will enjoy a beautiful, cheaper city that's still packed full of culture, well-educated people, access to the great outdoors, much more temperate weather, and an ease that you just can't find in New York City. And guess what? The city will always be there when you absolutely need that Levain cookie. But moving to Raleigh has been one of the best decisions we've ever made. If you've moved to the Triangle from New York City, I'd love to hear about your experience. Leave a comment below about how the move has been for you and maybe what surprised you the most or what you love most about living here. And if you're looking to move to Raleigh, be it from New York City or anywhere else, I'd love to talk to you. Yes, this video was long, but there's still so many other things I could go on about. You can leave me a comment or contact me directly. All of my contact information is included below.